How many journalists are here? I know there are some journalists who didn't put up their hands. How many journalists who are here were harassed, attacked, arrested, or something happened to them? Okay, so we've got a few here. Okay, so just to set that tone, Okay, I'm going to be very quick. I'm going to really talk about 3 points really. My first point is to talk about the role of media in reporting in a time of crisis, and I put crisis in inverted commas. My second point is to talk about the treatment of journalists on the day itself and how Bersih was reported. That's number 2. And number 3, I will talk about what are some of the responses that have happened and what are some of the other possible responses that we can give. Yeah. So the first one, the role of media in reporting crisis. I say crisis in inverted commas because I think there actually was not a real crisis, but there was a crisis that was manufactured. Yeah. So you have the whipping up of sentiments. Reported. Admittedly, Bersih 3.0 is not as bad as Bersih 2.0 in terms of the feelings that were roused up prior to the actual assembly. In fact, for this one, you could say that it's quite muted. CIJ is actually doing a media monitoring of Bersih 3.0, the coverage of it. We are only doing print media coverage because of limited resources and all that. But what we will do is that we will release it next week. My colleague Din Johan will be doing that. So we'll do that next week, so look out for that. We will not just look at how Bersih 3.0 is covered by the print media this time around, but also do a comparison of the coverage between 2.0 and Bersih 3.0, and you will really see the market difference. So watch out for that. That's just something to plug in terms of CIJ work. I think we all know the role that journalists plays in a regular time. They're basically historians on the move. They ask the obvious questions. They write. We read what they write. In a time of crisis, that role becomes a bit more urgent because it's also a time during which there are contending forces. You've got protesters. You've got police. You've got You've got people who are there. Basically, who are there, say for example, the traders, the people who own businesses who are there. You've got just people who are shopping. So there's all these forces that are out there during a time of, say, a rally, for example, in a city center, and this is an area where there's a lot of if you talk about Bersih 3.0 being a jigsaw puzzle. All these are pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, and each piece of the jigsaw puzzle is very important. And it's very important for the journalists to piece together those things. If we are protesters that's on the ground, we will only see what's on the ground. And even then, we're limited to the scope of where we are at. We may know of some things that some friends of ours would text. We will read about it in Facebook, etc. And in Facebook, I guess that has happened where the sharing of the different pieces of that jigsaw puzzle is happening. So one of the roles of media is actually that as well, is to put together all these things, to ask different parts, to ask the authorities, various levels, all the way from the Prime Minister to the Home Minister, to the Deputy Prime Minister, to the Mayor, to asking the people who are affected, the protesters themselves, about what happened, and piece that together. And it's very important, the role that they play. They bear witness to matters of public interest, and Bersih 3.0 is a matter of public interest. So that, just to piece together that, and I think there's a role that they play in terms of media freedom. There's a role of access to information that I mentioned earlier. It is critical for that to happen.